I didn't know you hit.
Yeah, I hit record like 10 seconds ago.
I didn't know it until I looked at you and you started smirking. I was like, you hit it.
Yeah, I was just waiting. Welcome into the show, everybody. Thanks for joining us for the evening.
Yeah.
Or morning,
whenever
afternoon, whenever you listen to it.
Whenever you listen to it.
We don't really dictate of when you should, although we should tell you when to listen.
Yeah, that's our bad.
Like, as soon as it comes out, download it, share it.
Yeah.
You know.
Play with it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoy it.
Make it known that you love it.
Yeah. Pleasure yourself to it.
Mm-hmm.
People,
I can't think of a better way than, sitting in a bathtub, listening to the podcast, touching myself.
I think that's a great way to live.
It's just what I like to do.
Yeah.
I don't even have a bathtub.
I just have a kiddie pool, and it's cold as fuck outside.
Yes, it is. And in here.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot to talk about. Oh, I didn't need to tell you this. We didn't talk in our pre-show show.
Yeah.
The tough day yesterday. Kind of the middle of the night through yesterday. I'm at my house. Like, for one, I live in the only quarter-mile stretch of street in this whole freaking town that doesn't have city water, so I still have a well.
Yes, you do.
Which is
very
weird.
Stupid. Yep.
I mean, like, there's miles outside of town. Out in the country that have it, but
yes, you don't.
I don't.
You're in the city limits.
So I have a well and a jet pump.
Okay.
Which is, I know most people think well pump submersible, but they're two different kinds. A jet pump sits out, well pump submersible. One pulls, one pushes.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Just break down the pumps. I know a lot about them.
I know you do. We've pumped out quite a bit together. Yeah.
A lot of hand pumping going.
A lot of hand pumping.
But
a lot of hand and mud pumping too.
It's just kind of weird of how used you get to the sounds of your house.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like midnight and I'm asleep.
Mm-hmm.
And I just hear a sound and it wakes me up. And it's just a hum.
It's the new pump.
Nope.
Oh.
It's the old pump.
Oh, breaking it down?
Burning up.
Oh, great.
But I know that kind of that hum for like 2 seconds and it's a hard quit.
Yeah.
So, this is great. So now I don't have water.
Oh, great. Do you need to shower here after you leave? I can show you how to run it.
You could just let me finish the story.
I was trying to be helpful.
Yeah, but I've already fixed it.
Oh, okay.
This was a couple days ago, yesterday.
Okay.
Do you think I not?
Continue.
Well, there's no reason to now. You've ruined it.
I'm sorry.
No, but I was just saying, so that's one of those things of like, I get down, flip the breaker off because, it's hot as fuck.
Yeah.
Of like, I don't mind a fire, but I'd rather not be sleeping when it happens.
Yeah. I don't care if my place burns down. Yeah, I don't want to be in it.
I'm not a sentimental person, so I don't give a shit if it burns down, it burns down. I'd just rather not be in it. But, so that's one of those things of trying to get back to sleep, all that shit. And then I didn't, because it was getting old. And those things only, they got a 10 to 20 year lifespan, and I've never had to change it. So, it was
probably
old.
Yeah.
So I went to the store, where we go to get all our stuff for the golf course. Of like, hey, I need a pump. And because it's a half horse pump.
Yeah, it's not much.
$900 later.
For a half horse pump? Oh my God. One that sticks out, I'm assuming.
Yep.
Same jet pump then?
Yeah, it's a jet. Yeah, okay. I can't put a submersible in that well, but
$900.
And when you're thinking half horse, it is. I mean, it's bigger because it sits horizontal on a platform, so it's not up and down like a sump pump would be.
Yeah,
but that's the same power.
Yeah.
$900.
That's wild. $900 for that.
When I was standing at the counter, and that was with a discount.
Ow.
Because of who I am, basically.
You come in here all the time. We'll get
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we spend multiple thousands of dollars with you, and that's my discount that got it down to that. And it, wasn't all the pump, but I got like 2 fittings, and they were $5 a piece. So.
Yeah.
It's like,
well,
I see them ringing that up, and I'm like, you gotta be shitting me.
Wow.
So that was my day yesterday.
So a couple months ago, kind of go off like the different sounds of your house, like even when you're sleeping, So we live out and away from the city a little bit more, and come to find out there were these behind our house, a couple hundred yards is a field, and they were running dirt bikes and four-wheelers through there, and it sounds like it's in your backyard, especially at 1 a.m. Well, my dumbass pops up after hearing it, and I wake my wife up. I said, "Do you hear that?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "They stole my fucking chainsaw and they started it up to brag about it." And she goes, "What the hell are you talking about?" And I sprint downstairs. I grab the key to this place. I only look to see if my chainsaw was there. I have a zero turn, a four-wheeler, a snowblower, and thousands of dollars worth of tools, but I was really concerned about the hand-me-down chainsaw that was given to me. Yeah, I felt like an idiot. I go back in, and she now has walked down the stairs with her arms crossed and goes, "Why the fuck did you think they stole your chainsaw?" I was like, she goes, "And why would they start it up?" I said, "They were rubbing it in my fucking face. That's what they were doing." That is a true story. It was the only thing where my mind went, and obviously still tired. I mean, it's 1 a.m.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that my mind went to was they stole my fucking chainsaw and they started it up.
That sleep stupor that you get of like,
yeah,
it's got to be it.
I didn't have shoes on. I was in my underwear, and I sprint out here just to make sure.
And to attach all that of those, they fired it up just to rub it in. Like they knew you.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we stole it. No,
take this.
They weren't even, you couldn't even see their lights from their vehicles that they had in the field behind us.
Yeah.
They weren't even close to our house.
Sons of bitches.
Yeah, I was pretty furious.
They stole my chainsaw.
Yeah.
Well, I've messed around with your chainsaw a little bit, so you're thinking like they stole it and then stood outside your back door for 15 minutes trying to get it started.
No shit. Yeah.
And if they put the choke on, it's screwed because it floods instantly.
Yep. Yes, it does. Found that out the hard way. Yeah, so, I mean, I know what you mean by the different sounds in your house, and our sump pump sounds, it's in a basement, it's in a big basement with no walls. It's studded, but there's no walls, so it echoes.
Yeah.
And it vibrates. And the first time we ate in the house, it's just the two of us, we're sitting in the dining room, and it's literally right underneath the dining room.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the hell is that? I'm like, I don't know. It's like, I mean, there's no moisture. It's just running to run like it normally does.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't know what that is. Like, we're going in the basement with a flashlight. Like, what the hell was it? Yeah. It's like the heater's not on. What the hell could it be?
Did somebody put a bomb down here? But it is amazing. Like, I love when that jump startle.
Yeah.
And where your mind goes.
Yeah. Of all the things in this place.
Not just you, I mean, but just in general of.
Yeah.
This was years ago, and it's weird like what you get used to of that you just don't hear anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Years ago when I got some neighbors that moved in a couple houses down, and I don't know them because why would I? But like New Year's Eve, they're the type of people that fire guns off, which is fine. I don't care.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you what, when you've never heard it and it's midnight and I wasn't awake.
Yeah.
And you wake up to gunfire. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I never got that.
I don't either.
I never got that. And we're from a place that probably does it.
Yeah.
But I don't get it.
Yeah.
Why they would do it.
Well, it's one of those things, too, that I always think about. It's like, hey, you know that bullet's coming down somewhere, right? Yeah. Now, granted,
Bullet
like
roulette.
there's fields behind,
yes,
it's like I don't live in the city, but I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I live, I guess, kind of townish.
Yeah.
But behind us is fields of like.
Yeah,
but like
it travels.
There's houses down the street on the other side of this field, and I don't know what angle you shot at, but that bullet travels.
Yeah.
A distance.
Yeah, and sometimes at people.
I am not a marksman.
Yeah.
So I don't know the physics of the bullet travel, but I'm guessing enough.
Enough to hit one of those houses. Yeah. Oh, man. Did you watch any of the national championship game? I'm assuming no, since it started so late.
I watched all of it.
Oh, wow.
To the trophy presentation.
Good for you. That's the first one you've probably watched in a long time other than the Ohio State one last year.
Well, I went to bed at just a little after halftime last year.
It was pretty over.
That was over after the first quarter. I watched all of it. I'll tell you what, shocking. I know people were, on Twitter and stuff, they were talking about just, all the field goals. But even though they just kicked like 5 field goals at that point, it was highly entertaining to that. Like, it was a hard-hitting, fast game.
Yeah.
They just couldn't pump anything in the end zone.
Yeah. The first half, I thought, now the score isn't anywhere any good or anything like that, the halftime score. But like you said, it was fast. And I know both defenses, they're not going to let you run the ball. So it seemed like a long first half. But, yeah, it was exciting. And then fucking poor Jameson Williams tears his ACL in the first quarter. It's like, oh, my God.
That was ugly, too.
Ugly.
And that, I'll tell you what, George, people can say all you want. Jameson doesn't get hurt, you don't win that game. Because I think it was starting to
open up.
Like, he got nothing, and then, I know that when he got 40 yards. But at that point, now he's got like 4 catches. He was starting to, got him.
Yeah.
Got him.
Yep. And it was almost set up like that. Like, they were hitting 5 and 7 yard outs.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, we're going to dink and dunk, and then you're going to get greedy all of a sudden, and then we're going to hit you right down the middle. And
well, because that's what, when he was in the game, because Georgia blitzed every play?
Every play. Yeah.
They weren't getting to him.
No.
Now, once he got hurt, they started getting to him.
Yep.
And I'll tell you right now, if Alabama's receivers would catch the ball,
yeah, you're right,
they probably win that game.
Yeah, there's a lot of drops.
Say, well, it's they lost by 2 touchdowns. Like, well, one of them was an interception return with a minute left in the game.
Not even. It was like 30 seconds or something. I mean, it was.
So that was, and that's we'll get around to that because he's going to come into the head coaching search in the NFL. But he is god awful at calling plays.
Yes.
And we'll just say it now. Everybody's blaming Bryce Young for that interception.
It's not his fault.
The problem with it is, on the 3 plays previous, including that play, they ran 4 verticals.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everybody's like, well, he didn't have to throw it. Yes, he did.
It's to the sideline. He has to stop the clock.
They are trying to move down the field to win, and your offensive coordinator keeps calling basically Hail Marys. There's no one else for him to throw to except down the field. He had to throw it.
Yeah. And you bring up a good point with Bill O'Brien. When he was at Penn State, he didn't know. I don't think he knows how to call plays for developing people.
No.
I think he knows how to call plays for professionals.
Yeah.
That already are good at what they do. Yep. I think that's I think he proved that. I mean, the Texans were shit when he took that job, and he put him in the playoffs a couple years, and then when he obviously went into personnel, he sucked. But I don't think that he has the mindset, because you look at the games that they struggled in, you could blame a lot of it on him.
Yeah.
I mean, the Auburn game really comes to mind, too. Is like, they didn't try, I don't think they tried anything different. You know what I mean? They kept trying to do the same shit that they were doing in that game, and I thought they tried to do the same shit they did against Georgia the first time.
Yeah, except because here's what you'll notice. Of the 2 games they lost were to Georgia and Texas A&M. Same thing.
Yeah.
In both of those games. Inside the 10-yard line, they kicked 2 field goals in both of those games.
Yep.
Because his offensive calling
it was bad.
Inside the red zone is he never runs motion. He doesn't run mesh routes or picks, whatever you want to call it, depending on which side of the ball you're on. Basically, he just sets up in a formation and has the guys run a route. And Georgia plays man coverage. So, hey, if you're not doing something to create space, if you're just going to run hooks and curls, it's kind of what man coverage is designed for.
I tell you what, the game, now it was the first quarter, so I wouldn't call it a game-changing, but a half-changing momentum swing was the tight end dropped the pass after the linebacker didn't take him across the field.
Yeah.
Right at and then the next play, the same linebacker sacks the dude for a 15-yard loss. They have to kick a field goal. If they score that, it opens up the game tremendously.
Well, another one, that first drive, on that 3rd down, the tight end slips and falls down.
Yep.
If you catch that, because you still got Jameis at that point.
Yeah.
You catch that, and Alabama is a team, if you can't run the ball, and Georgia's, there's another problem with their play calling. I'll get to that here in a sec. But they're better outside the 15 than they are inside the 15. Like, they can't score when they get close because their play calling sucks. But Jameson is so fast, like he might just be able to outrun a guy across the back of the end zone.
Yeah.
I mean, and he probably would.
Mm-hmm.
But, that guy you open with a touchdown, that's a hot different, because a field goal, because you marched it right down the field.
Yeah.
A field goal, even though you got points on the opening drive, is a win for the defense.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
So that was kind of now this is the Bill O'Brien shit show right here of you're trying to run the ball, and he wasn't. He was just handing it off just to hand it off to say we tried. Mm-hmm. That's really what it was.
Yeah.
Georgia likes to slant. That's what they do with their defensive line.
Yeah.
Now, they're going to slant opposite of your back because when you're running in shotgun, the handoff is never going to be straight ahead. It's always going to be coming across.
Yeah.
So those slant the opposite way. Mm-hmm. Well, they're slanting right into your run.
Yeah.
If you could have just run the same offense.
Yeah.
Why don't we just go ahead and go in pistol? Now they can't slant, or if they do, they're guessing.
Yep.
And if you catch them on a guess, now you pop one.
Yep. Yeah.
There's no adjustment to his game of, I think it's, we just got better athletes.
Yeah.
But you didn't.
Yeah, you didn't.
You didn't
this game.
You had equal athletes.
I mean, there's going to be, of the starters on that defense of Georgia's, there's going to be seven draft picks in the first 2-3 rounds.
Oh, yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
It's no joke. I mean, good for Georgia. I don't like Georgia. I don't like Georgia per se.
I hate them.
I do like Kirby Smart. I really do. I liked him at Alabama, and I always thought that he was going to be the Saban, whatever, the tree of his coaching tree that was going to do well.
Be the better.
Yes, because he stayed with him the longest of all of them. All the other guys who left were with him for like a year or two. He was with him for like 7 years.
Yeah.
I mean, he was. I think he might have been there when, like, a year after Saban got there, like after he went from the NFL.
Yeah.
So
kind of in that first build up.
Yes. And they kind of have the same personality. He has definitely a college personality. Kirby Smart does. He seems like a giant hard ass.
Yeah.
But he seems like his guys want to play for him because he's that hard ass. He shows the enthusiasm, the emotion. I mean, he gets into it, and that's probably why I like him the most. He shows some emotion.
And I'm not one to shy away from that. I make some pretty bold statements about people. He's one that I don't have a feeling on of like,
okay.
I feel like I might like him or I might smack him.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And it might just depend on the day.
Yeah. I could see that. He says some shit and he has that look to him.
Yeah.
Almost like that arrogance.
Yeah.
And he hasn't really done anything till now. Yeah. I could see that.
But that's one of those things, too, of you were the best team in college football. There ain't no doubt about that.
Yeah.
There's nobody, even a Georgia fan, you can't sit back and watch that game. The Jamesons is a big deal. But you can see a way that Alabama could have won that game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it wasn't hell, they didn't take the lead till the fourth quarter. And that's probably the best Georgia team you might ever have.
Yeah.
Because, defensive, they're just, come on.
Yeah.
But you take that win and feel great about it. You just won a national championship with the best team you've ever had.
Yeah.
Not saying it'll be the greatest you've ever had, because you got years.
But
and so far in your history, that's the best it's ever been. And you could have got beat, of which you have been beaten once this year, by an Alabama team that is one of the worst they've had in the last decade.
Yeah.
That's the level.
Yeah. No, it is. It is incredible to look at it like that. If you want, and I am not on this train. I saw a tweet about it, and it's a clickbait tweet to try to get responses from people.
Yeah.
But it was eye-opening to the fact of they can be gettable, and Saban is 1 for 4 in his last 4 national championship games. Say what you want, he's there.
Yeah.
But you're gettable now. There for a while, I was like, fuck, we got to play Alabama. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and that's one of those things, but it's one of those, I want to say, of all the national champs since the playoff, there's only... is LSU the only team that didn't have to beat Alabama?
Yes.
That's won it?
Yeah. And they had to beat a bad Oklahoma team.
Yeah.
And
Clemson.
So this was another thing that I saw Fox College Football Twitter put out. Since the BCS and the college football playoffs have been what we do for bowl games as national championships, I think the BCS came out early 2000s.
99?
Okay. Yeah. So
Florida State was the first one that won it, I believe.
So basically, in my memory of football lifetime, the BCS and the college football playoffs have ran the championships. Yeah. There's only 13 champions.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Only 13 champions since 99.
Yeah. It's a top-heavy sport.
That is incredible to a point to where, I don't know if you're done talking about the national title game.
No, we can talk all night.
But we can roll into the fact that you can't even agree on an expansion, even though only 13 teams have ever won the national championship since 1999.
Yeah.
That to me, you're not even trying.
And here's one. 2 of those national championships is on a team now that is a laughingstock.
Yeah.
And then another one is so you got Florida State won the first and the last BCS.
Yep.
And they are not even in the conversation.
No.
Miami's got 1 or 2 in the BCS. They have one of the 01 team that might be the greatest college team of all time.
Yes.
They get beat by Ohio State the next year. I can't remember if they won another. So there's 3 of just teams that really don't even exist anymore.
Yeah.
Texas. And they're on we'll see what Sark does. But
yep. Yeah.
Auburn
has 2 in that time.
Yeah. LSU has 2 in that time.
Yep. Think about, that is that number and that stat right there to me is just, you are lazy and you don't want an expansion because you can come up with a way to make everybody happy. I lost my voice there. To make everybody happy. You absolutely can.
Well, that was I don't know how much you read about that coming out of there, because there were some athletic directors that were pissed off. One of them walked out.
Yeah.
I think, can't remember which conference he just packed up and left the meetings of like, hey, we're just here wasting time for 4 days if we can't. The arguments they were having on day 4 was the same arguments they were having on day 1.
Yeah.
And I loved what Greg Sankey from the SEC goes, hey, we came here willing to expand.
Uh-huh.
But if they just want to keep hanging this up and dragging their feet on this, we're happy to stay with this. I mean, we got 2 teams in the national championship game. We're doing pretty well under this system.
Exactly. Why the SEC shouldn't be a 1-2 listen. They should say, no, we're the best.
Yeah.
We have the best 2 to 3 teams every year.
Yeah. They don't need it.
No.
And the biggest problem, Kevin Warren is a shit burglar.
He is.
I mean,
yeah.
That guy, because he's one of the ones hanging up because wanting these guarantees of, well, he's asking for a guarantee when a team in your conference is one of the teams that they use for the argument that there needs to be an expansion, because it's always Alabama and Ohio State and you're dragging up because you want to be the Power Fives to have a guaranteed spot.
Yeah.
You're always going to. When's the last championship team out of the Big Ten that wasn't making the college football playoff?
Exactly.
I mean,
yeah.
Especially if it's 12 teams.
It's just stupidity. It's just stupidity. That's all it is.
And now they're using the NIL as, well, with the college landscape right now, we just don't know what it's going to bring. Yeah, you know what it's going to bring? If you expand it, and with all this money, because you've got some schools that have some money around it.
Oh, yeah.
And schools that are not participants right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like the NIL, that's a different conversation. We can have a little bit that the NCAA is letting it run off the rails. Like they just kind of checked out and like, fuck it.
You guys wanted it.
Yeah.
Kind of,
That's
the kind of thing that I'm with. I'm like,
I think a little bit on that, like it'll find its level. Like it's going to be the Wild West for a couple years, and then it's just going to kind of level out. But the fact that like the Big Ten was the Big Ten, ACC, and the Pac-12, bounding together of basically just trying to, just a bunch of collusion to get it their way.
Yeah, pretty much.
Of like, one, if you're the Big Ten, why are you with the ACC? The Pac-12 has 0 teams, and the ACC has 1.
If you're the Big Ten and you're not scooching your chair towards the SEC in that meeting, you shouldn't be at that meeting.
Yeah.
I mean, you should not band with the people who aren't there. Now, you should be in the conversation of, hey, we need to expand. One, because the Buckeyes, the Big Ten could get 3 teams into an expansion playoff instead of 1 in a college football playoff.
Well, here's one. If you'd had expanded the damn thing, Michigan would have been in as a Big Ten champion, and Ohio State would have been. You'd have had 2 teams in on what you would call a down year for your biggest franchise.
Yeah.
Why is that not a good thing? And a lot of them don't understand if the same teams are going to win. It's not about that.
You don't know that.
And that I still come back to the thing that people love March Madness of like, well, hell, 56 of those teams have 0 chance.
Exactly.
So they shouldn't be invited.
Yeah, the 16 seed upsetting the 1 seed is what, like 0.15%?
Happened one time.
Ever. Yeah, one time ever.
And then they got blown out the next game.
It's not. You bring up a really good point with that. Now, I don't know how much of the expansion is the NCAA.
None of it.
Yeah.
They have nothing. The NCAA has nothing to do with the college football playoff.
Yeah.
They sold the presidents and stuff. And that's the thing that gets them too. Like, these morons think they're making great decisions of, you took your property and you sold it off to the highest bidder to the point where you don't really have control of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
They need a commissioner. Somebody's got to be in charge of the college football playoff. Or of just, and it can't be, I think I said this last week, the fact that we're having playoff games and Gus Johnson doesn't call one of them, and I like Herb Street in them.
Yeah.
But the games are only on ESPN. Oh, and that was another thing. The Pac-12 is still banging the drum for the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, I know.
They don't want the expansion.
Yeah.
And they want the expansion. They want the Rose Bowl to have 2 games. So they still want to tie up New Year's Day.
Yeah. It's
of like, if
that's the only positive look that they get is the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
But it's a traditional thing that you get. You are grandfathered in that you get that. So that's why you want it.
Yeah.
If not, you wouldn't be in there.
No.
And they know that.
But that's one of those things of, you're holding hostage for a game that doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Was it wildly entertaining? Yes.
Yeah, but it doesn't
Does anybody
matter.
give a shit about that game? No. They've already stopped talking about it.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I know that I've talked about it. If you want your New Year's 6 bowl games, those are your playoff games.
Yes.
Those are your playoff games. Because you're going to give somebody a bye. So you should have all 6 of your New Year's 6 bowl games. Call them what the hell you want, your Cotton Bowl, your Fiesta, all that stuff. You can put one of them as the Rose Bowl too. I mean, it's still the Rose Bowl. It's just not your traditional teams.
Right.
But you're still getting your fucking parade. You're still getting the ceremony of Rose. You're still getting all of that stuff. But it's just better at that point in time because we don't have the 2nd or 3rd place teams in the conference.
Yeah, and if you expand to 12, and now it's going to be the 3rd and 4th place teams.
Yeah.
You're going to watch a game with fucking Iowa against Oregon State?
Yeah.
Because that's what you're going to get. But to hold hostage of something that's better for the sport because of the Rose Bowl. I mean.
Yeah, they can take that and shove it up their ass.
1947.
It's so dumb.
Hitler's gone, people.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Jesus. Okay. But yeah, I mean, and then the go back to the NIL. I liked what Saban and Kirby Smart said. Everybody thought it. They just came out and said it because I think they was probably the only two who have enough balls to say it. And I don't think it's a bad thing, but it seemed like they did of using that as recruitment.
Right.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that to me because that's what, I mean, to me, that's what the NIL was for the whole time.
Yeah.
Was some of these low-level teams can get a good recruit because some business around them offered them money to go play there.
Yeah.
that's recruiting. That's the whole point.
That's the whole point.
That's the whole point of it. I mean, for the people, I didn't think anybody that was already on a team was going to get it, because if you're already good on a team, you're going to the pros next year. Why would you want to sign with a company that isn't going to pay you as much as you will when you get drafted?
Right. Well, that, and what they say, because not being used as a recruitment tool, they both are.
Yeah, 100%.
But it's not as big a deal for them. Like, you got Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, Ohio State. These, because I think we can call Georgia a perennial. They've been in the playoff cup. They played in 2 national championships.
Yep.
They're 1-1.
Yeah.
They're not selling a recruit on an NIL deal.
No.
Like, hey, you come play at Alabama, someone's going to offer you some money.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I don't have to use that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
this is Alabama.
Yeah.
Now, it's good for those other teams. Okay. Cincinnati was the first non-Power 5 to make it to the college football playoffs. Okay. They're going to use that and the NIL to get players to go there. That's one of the best things about the expansion too. We went to the college football playoffs last year.
Yeah.
We were one of the top 12 teams in the country. If you're one of the top 12 teams this year, you don't get shit. We played a bowl game.
Yeah.
You're not in the playoffs.
Well, and that's one for Cincinnati too, because people, they come out after Cincinnati loses. Well, you got blown out by Alabama. They didn't belong there. 1, they did belong there.
Mm-hmm.
2, Alabama blows out a lot of teams.
Yeah.
And then 3, go back and look at the score, because the narrative already, Alabama got blown out in the national championship.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not what happened.
No.
But we're a couple days removed, and that's, everybody forgets the game.
Yeah.
You only remember the score.
Exactly.
And the score was a blowout.
Yeah. And for the people who are like, oh, well, it's, I am tired of the same fucking teams. Even if my team is in it.
Yeah.
Pretty much every year but 2. I get tired of the same fucking games over and over. Now, I don't bitch or anything. I mean, who am I going to, I don't go around like, oh, this sucks, or I'm not watching or anything like that, but Alabama is fantastic, but I don't want to constantly watch them in the national championship. Now, if they expanded to 12, probably not making a difference, but you're at least saying, here's a chance. You have a chance to do it. Ohio State can make a run from the losers bracket. I mean, Michigan can do something. Cincinnati. I mean, all these people can play somebody lower than them and get a win and then move up.
Yeah.
You may not have to. Michigan might have to play Georgia.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
One of those you wouldn't have to. But you might get another rematch of Ohio State Michigan in a bowl game or a playoff game. You know how much money that'll fucking bring in?
Well, here's one like I was just watching, because the 12 team seems like what if they were going to expand that's
that's kind of it.
I think the agreement, they didn't have any agreements, but that was kind of the narrative that hey, it's going to be it's not going to 8, it's not going to 6, it's not going to 8, it's probably going to 12 with a bye. And I was watching Joel Klatt kind of laid that out of how he would do it.
Mm-hmm.
And his is the 4 highest ranked conference champions get the bye.
Yeah.
Which, hey, that's great. That's the way it should be.
Yeah.
So his was, if Ohio State would win their first game, the second round game would be Ohio State, Alabama. Is anybody going to watch that game?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's the same team. Yeah, I feel like quite a few people are going to watch that game.
And it's not for the national championship game.
And we're out here against more football.
Yeah, that's the problem.
And I'm talking about fans. And then I've heard some of these president stuff is like, it's about safety. No, it's not. It never has been.
No.
If it was about safety, we'd still be playing 10 games with a bowl game.
Exactly. Yeah, you give everybody a conference championship game. There's an expansion. For some reason, you're still fucking playing FCS schools. Why?
Yeah.
You don't have to play those, and you can expand your playoffs.
Yeah.
Get rid of those. You're literally giving money away by doing that. What was the one year Kent State got like $1.5 million for playing Alabama?
Yeah, come get your ass kicked.
Come get your ass kicked. We'll give you a check.
And that's and they're okay with that because that funds their program.
And I get that.
And that's okay.
I get that
but don't talk about safety if you're letting that happen.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you who it's not safe for. It's not safe for fucking Kent State.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, we have no NFL players. This team has all of them. yeah, let's go down there and play the second week of the season and just get throttled.
Yeah, and hopefully have enough healthy guys to play the next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah, it just needs to. I think we need to do more. Start writing articles or something. I mean, I think we need to be running it.
The committee to me is absolutely pointless. And I know we talked about this a ton, but when you have what is it, like 15 people or more,
and how much are they making?
That's a good point too. But you have non-football people in there. It should be, to me, it's got to be ex-athletic directors, ex-coaches, and ex-players. If you want to have 15 people in your panel, that's fine. Get somebody who's been around the fucking game and go do that, because they're going to tell you, if you want your eye test to be the final decision, they're going to tell you, hey, that's a good football team or that's not a good football team. Yeah. They're going to be the ones that do it. That's why everybody listens to fucking all the guys on ESPN. Herbstreit, Pollock, Desmond Howard, all those guys played.
Yeah.
So they're going to listen to them. If those guys were on the panel, I would have much more respect for the committee itself.
Yeah.
Not necessarily those guys, but those types of guys who have played. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, and the thing with it is, by expanding to 12, and I don't understand why the automatic, there's one person that's hanging on the automatic bid thing.
Yeah.
And then there's people against it too, of like, I don't understand why that's a problem, because if we do that, the Power Fives, like, chances are they're going to be ranked in the top 12 every year.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I mean, that's just...
They're going to. They're the best.
Yeah. I mean, that's just what it is. You win a conference championship.
Yeah.
In one of the Power 5 conferences, you're going to be a top 12 team. That's just the way it is.
But this year, we had like 6 different teams ranked in the top 15, top 12. I know Baylor's kind of hanging around there, but Baylor was a good football team. You had Oklahoma State. You didn't have Oklahoma.
Right. You
didn't have a lot of the teams who are in there. You didn't have Clemson. You didn't have those guys. You had like an Arkansas. You had you had different teams. So to expand it to 12, you don't know who you're going to get. You probably know your top tier,
right?
Because you're going to know your top tier every year, but you don't know who's going to bust their ass to come up, and it's just going to give you what to keep playing.
Yeah.
How many people are going to opt out? If people are going to bitch about everybody opting out to go to the pros to benefit themselves, expanding it probably solves that, because I'm playing for something now.
Right.
I'm not just doing a shitty bowl game. I'm going to go play for a national title, even if I am the 12th seed.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
Well, and they've talked about that too, of the expansion with the NIL makes so much sense, because one of the things is got to make the playoff.
Uh-huh.
That's your number one goal, make the playoff. Well, win your conference and make the playoff. But the NIL brings in so much more, because they talked about that of Houston coming to the Big 12.
Yeah.
There's so much money from that school, because they have so many oil billionaires.
Yeah, exactly.
Of like, all of a sudden, Houston's a Power 5 school. All of a sudden, they have more money than everybody.
And they're getting people.
And they just pay people.
Yeah.
Georgia Tech. A lot of big companies in Atlanta. Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Procter & Gamble.
Yeah.
Ever heard of it?
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty big company.
Pretty big company.
I mean,
yeah.
You can just bring in more people, and then you spread the wealth out a little bit. And if the same teams win, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
But you're going to get some interesting things, and you're going to make it more relevant for the rest of the country.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to keep having national championships with 2 states that touch each other,
yeah, it's not going to be fun for anybody else.
Nobody else is watching.
Yeah. Oh, man. I guess we can talk about our team, since we kind of talked about everybody else. I mean, Ryan Day just went on a firing spree.
Earth. Did we talk about that on the show last week?
We talked about
the insider.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you'd said the names that came out here, and he told you no.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he needs to be smacked.
Well, he wasn't going to say anything until it was confirmed.
Right.
And it was never, he's like, they never confirmed it until today. He thought they would all be out last week when they got rid of Stud and whoever the other guy they got rid of. He's like, I thought it was all going to happen at once. He's like, he goes, like, I don't think they're doing it now. Like, I think they're going to keep him. And then today he was like, nope, That's all he texted me was, nope, they're not. And I was like, okay. But it's good for him. I got to say that. That was one of my biggest questions, and I know we talked about it on the thing. Do you have enough balls to fix your program? And he did. Now, he brought in a lot of people he already knew.
Yeah.
And a lot of former Buckeyes, which is nice, which is great.
It's fine.
But you brought in people you knew.
Yeah.
Everybody that you hired in, you have worked with previously.
Yeah.
If you are struggling in those positions for the next 2 years, those guys are probably not being fired, and they are not leaving that team unless they get another job in a bigger position.
Yeah.
That's the only issue I had with it. You hired your buddies, which is great. I wish I could hire my buddies, but if they're not going to do what they're fucking do, this is Ohio State. You're not going to do what you're supposed to do, you're gone.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, the bad thing is, and why everybody was questioning him, is these were all the people that he should have moved on from last year.
Yes.
But he kept them around, and you kind of, you know. Well, this might be the worst Ohio State defense that they've had in my lifetime.
Yeah. I think the narrative last year was, well, we just went to a national championship game.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe we'll see what happens. And then obviously we saw what happened.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing to me is still the defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
The Coombs getting fired, or Combs, I don't know how you pronounce it.
I think it's Coombs.
That didn't mean anything to me because he was already back to coaching defensive backs, which is what he was good at.
Mm-hmm. I tell you what.
The Washington guy.
Yeah.
I mean, him getting fired, I mean, the linebackers sucked.
Yeah.
And your new defensive coordinator, turns out, is a linebackers coach.
I have an issue with, if there was somebody to fire last year, it was him. To keep your job in college is to recruit. You haven't recruited a linebacker in a long time.
And that's why he was hired.
Yes, because he was supposed to be this recruiter. Yeah. And, I mean, it fell apart for him. It didn't work out for him. And then to go along with, they're not any good.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. Are you bad at coaching your position, or you just didn't recruit well enough? Who knows?
Well, how do you stand on that side of the ball, being the guy that recruits linebackers, and then look on the other side of the ball at what Hartline's doing? Yeah. How do you stare yourself in the mirror and go, I'm doing everything I can?
Are you?
Well, you're not.
You're not. Yeah. Or even in your same position. Now, they weren't very good this year, but Larry Johnson brings in 5 stars and 4 stars all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
And it's hard to compete with that. It's hard to compete with that when you have the guys that you've had previously.
Right.
And he already has a reputation of being the best.
Yeah.
It's hard to compete with that, and I get that part, but the one that is fantastic was the guy from Cincinnati. Perry, how do you say it?
Oh, the DB's
Elias
coach.
Or something, however you say it.
Yeah.
That guy, those DBs that he has progressed up at Cincinnati both of them are going to be drafted in the first round.
Yeah.
They're fantastic. What Jim Thorpe Award.
Well, that's just what you talk about of like, hey, of all the defensive first rounders in the national championship game, 2 of the best ones were in the team that you said didn't belong.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I think that might be the biggest hire so far as far as development and who knows how good is recruiting. He got those 2 guys to come to Cincinnati. I don't know what stars they were or anything like that if you want to look at that. But
well, at Ohio State, where Ryan Day's got to get to is you should never have a coordinator more than a couple years.
Yeah.
Because they should be so good they should be getting jobs.
The only time
kind of like that Nick Saban thing of like,
yes,
it's just what you have to do is replace stuff.
But he's only had that once with Hafley.
Right.
He's never had a coordinator. Even Hafley never called plays.
No.
He never called plays until he went to Ohio State. He's never hired an actual coordinator. I don't know if, Fickle, coordinator, Vrabel, under Urban.
Right.
But were they? I don't, you know what I mean? How good were they? He was Luke Fickell. He was the head coach when he got there.
Right.
So you kept him.
Right.
Yeah, and you had dudes.
Yeah.
You had Vrabel coaching the defensive line and Fickell, both Ohio State guys. You were never firing those 2. They were always going to get a different job.
Right.
And that's the only thing that I fear is they're going to stay.
Well, it's like we talked about. This will be Kevin Warren. How many years will this be as the offensive coordinator? Kevin
Warren.
Who's the offense coordinator for Ohio State?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Kevin something, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Kevin. I don't remember the
because you never
name.
see him because he doesn't call the plays.
Yeah.
But it's either going to be his third or fourth year.
Uh-huh.
That's too long.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of like that, like the JT Barrett thing when you're the fourth. Hey, you've been starting here for 4 years. That's too long to be a quarterback at Ohio State. Like,
well, it's
you need
Kevin
to be
Wilson.
moving on.
Kevin Wilson.
Kevin Warren.
Kevin Warren is the commissioner of the Big Ten.
Oh, that's right.
Kevin
He's a
Wilson.
douchebag.
Yeah.
Kevin Wilson.
Kevin
I don't
Wilson.
know him.
I think he's okay with being what he does. But that's the problem.
But the point is, you're at Ohio State for coming on a 4th seat. You shouldn't be there. You should have already got another job.
Yeah.
If you're not good enough to be headhunted out of there for a head coaching job, what are we doing?
Yeah, no, I get that. I really do. You could say the same thing with a lot of guys. I mean, Larry Johnson, is he just too old? He doesn't want to do it? Yeah.
Might be.
Who knows? I don't know. I agree with that, but I disagree with that because you don't see a lot of guys headhunting old dudes. Now, I know it's not, I don't want to say it like that, but everybody now wants the young guy who.
Yeah, I get it.
That's where I would put my devil's advocate to what you're saying is maybe they just have done their time. They've done it through to where they're probably just staying until they're retiring.
But that's where you got to get is to that level where you're like the Nick Saban coaches rehab of you get high level head coaches that come back, coordinate, and then they're back off.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. No, I agree with you in that part of it.
That's a job position. I mean,
I would agree with that to an extent with Kevin Wilson if he actually called the plays.
Yeah.
That would be, I would, if he called the plays and he's been there for 5 years or whatever he's been, okay.
Well, and because that's another thing. Ohio State can't hire an offensive coordinator. You know, if he would leave, who are you going to hire?
Yeah.
Hey, you're the offensive coordinator at Ohio State. You're not allowed to call the plays, though. You can coach the tight ends or whatever. You're
putting your quarterback's coach up in the box and you're hiring another quarterback coach. That's probably what you're doing.
Well, it's like that Heartline with the promotion to passing game coordinator. What the fuck does that even mean?
Basically, he's putting the packages together for just the passing game.
Of which he does not call.
No, he doesn't. But everybody has one. Yeah. And it's
just a pay. It's not a job.
No, it's an increase in pay.
It's just an increase in pay. Like he's doing the exact same job that he did last year.
Yes.
It's just an increase in pay. Of like, well, he's the run game coordinator. Oh, you mean he coaches the running backs? So he's the running backs coach.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah. And I know, a lot of teams do that, but.
Yeah. It's just a title. Which is fine. I mean, pay the guys if they're worth the money. He obviously is.
Yeah.
If he's going to recruit at that level, he should be making $4 million a year.
He got an associate head coaching title, too. So, I mean, good for him. All right. Who's your way too early top 10? Did you have one?
Yeah.
Okay. You mean to say mine?
Yeah, go ahead. I wasn't
ready. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't have it pulled up.
All right. I'll go with my top 5 first in order. I have Bama, Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, and Baylor as my top 5.
Okay, say that again. I'm sorry.
Bama, Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, and Baylor is my top 5. That's my top 5. I don't think Baylor loses a whole lot, and their defense played absolutely fantastic the last couple of games of the year. Michigan, it's hard not to put them in the top 5 when you go to the college football playoffs.
Yeah.
And you really only lose a couple offensive linemen and Haskins.
Yeah.
So, who knows? I think that would drop if Harbaugh leaves. If Harbaugh leaves, I think they may not be in the top, you know what I mean? Or out of respect, they will be. Who knows? But my 6 through 10, Notre Dame, Texas A&M, Arkansas, USC, and Clemson.
Basically just taking a flyer with USC.
Pretty much. He has so much attention to him right now, and the Pac-12 is so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, the team that won the Pac-12 is never going to win the Pac-12 again, probably. I mean, Utah, they lose a ton of people. The second best team in the Pac-12, your head coach just up and left for a worst program.
Yeah.
I can't see them turning it around. And Chip Kelly's got UCLA doing something, whatever. But I'm taking a shot in the dark with them. I like what Arkansas is doing with their coach. There's kind of just that nitty-gritty kind of team that hangs around. A&M, I don't know what they are. But they beat some teams in the SEC. They beat Alabama. Might as well give them there. And I don't see Clemson falling off again. I don't see them having another bad season like they had.
I've got them in my top 10.
Yeah. I don't say what you want about the guy. He's a moron, but pretty good fucking coach.
Yeah.
I see them getting back into the swing of things.
They're starting to hit into the transfer portal of like, well, dude, you have to do that.
Yeah. So that's my top 10.
So mine goes Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, Michigan, A&M is my 5.
I'm shocked A&M's that high for you because you just not a fan.
I'm not.
I know.
But this is it.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Like, hey, you've had a top 3 recruiting class for the last 5 years of, if not now,
when? They're
kind of in that thing, how Georgia was this year. You have all this NFL talent.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Georgia, if not now, then when? Like, if you didn't win this national championship this year, you're just kind of not doing it.
Yeah.
And then I've got kind of a lot of what you have. I've got Clemson at 6.
Okay.
I've got Utah up there still at 7, then Arkansas, then Notre Dame.
Okay.
And it's kicking around. It's a weird one. At 10 is kind of a Wake Forest kind of deal.
Okay. I mean, that's you can do what you want with the
10.
top. Yeah,
I just wasn't ready to throw like USC in there yet.
I only did it because.
And honestly, at 10, I would not be scared to put LSU at 10.
Okay.
I really wouldn't.
Okay.
Because LSU's talent, like they were shitty this year, but they were still full of NFL guys.
Yeah, it's so LSU. Wild. It's so weird how good they are talent-wise.
People can say what they want. Brian Kelly can coach some fucking football.
Oh, for sure.
And it's like, well, he keeps getting blown out. It's like, Notre Dame, you got to have like a 4.0 GPA just to get a scholarship offer from them. So
you give this guy LSU, probably going to get some dudes to come there.
Yeah.
I mean, and he has his name. He built Cincinnati up from nothing. Nobody talked about fucking Cincinnati.
No.
Then Notre Dame. Notre Dame was always relevant because it's Notre Dame.
Well, yeah, because people forget when he was at Cincinnati, that was BCS era, and he was borderline making it to a championship game.
Yeah.
When there was only 2 teams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, that's not bad. I think it's kind of what a lot of people would have.
Sorry, I had to adjust in my chair.
You're good.
But I feel like next year you're gonna be a push back to normalcy.
Yeah.
Where I feel like you're gonna get like an Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, and whoever.
A fourth, some fourth team that's going to pop in there.
I just have a feeling that that's what's coming.
Yeah, I don't see Clemson having another down year, and I do not. I'm not a Dabo Sweeney fan, but the guy's a pretty fucking good football coach.
I think on the Michigan side of it, we're going to get into this on the NFL talk because I don't think Harbaugh goes anywhere.
Yeah.
Could. They still have a lot of talent. I mean, you lose both your edge rushers.
Yes.
That changes your defense.
Tremendously. Tremendously.
I mean, I think they're going to be good. I also think come next time, I think next year Michigan's probably going to get boat raced by Ohio State.
Probably.
It's probably going to be one of those 20, 30 points. Hey, you just got beat 58 to 30. Of the...
Yeah.
All right, well, you said this, so...
Yeah. The third base comment. Yeah. I come back to bite him in the ass. And
then Harbaugh's right back in the same...
That's why
win the big game.
Yeah.
That's why I think he should leave.
I think he should leave, too, and we'll go right into head coaching with the NFL. I think he should leave, too. I think his biggest problem is he doesn't want to go in to a complete shit show.
Right.
Then I think I said it last week. He knows what he's getting back in Michigan.
Yeah.
If he would go to probably 3 of the 8 teams now that don't have a head coach, they're shit shows.
Yeah.
I mean, if we just found out today that the Texans got rid of their coach. If he would go into Houston, shit show.
Yeah.
They have nothing. If he would go into Chicago, not a whole.
Nothing.
You have Fields, but you don't know if you have Fields.
I'll tell you the 2 spots that he should go. If he was going to go, that he would go. And then I'm going to give you some reasons why not.
Yeah.
1, Miami.
Uh-huh.
They're ready to go.
Yeah.
Now, the reason to not do that is Josh Allen and Bill Belichick.
Uh-huh.
That's a tough.
Yeah, that is a
tough go.
It's a tough go.
Secondly, the best place for him, probably the best place fit, is Denver.
Probably.
But then, you're jumping right in with Kansas. You got a whole.
Yeah.
And he's not going to get that job.
No.
But that's probably the best fit of because the defense that they have.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really have a quarterback.
Yeah.
You've got pieces on offense and you can run the ball.
Yeah. I think
that's kind of his fit.
And that's why I'm going with I swing to the same conference. I think Oakland is that for him.
Yeah.
Now, they don't necessarily have the run game that he would like, but they have 2 running backs. You actually have a quarterback. The only issue that they're going to run into is, are they firing the GM?
Probably.
And
but then again, you don't know what Mike Mayock is because John Gruden was making those calls. John Gruden's the one that hired Mayock.
Yes, exactly.
So that means that the general manager had
nothing,
zero control.
Mm-hmm. And so that would be the only thing with Oakland. It's a playoff team. If you're going off of what's the least amount of build-up I have to do, it's Oakland it's Vegas because they're a playoff team.
Yeah.
I know 7th seed, you had 9 wins, 10 wins, but they made it to the fucking playoffs.
Yeah.
So if you're hardball and you're saying, well, I don't want to rebuild, I don't want to do another San Francisco, then that's probably your spot. Them, and I like him in Minnesota.
Yeah.
I do. Minnesota had 7 starters hurt on defense.
Right.
Now, they were the worst defense in the NFL. Okay. You have a quarterback. You have a really good running back. You have Justin Jefferson. You have Adam Thielen. That's it right there.
Yeah.
Now you're playing in a division with the Packers. Are you though? Is Aaron staying?
Come on,
he's
not
staying.
even.
I know that, but you only have to beat one team.
Right.
If you're in Oakland, you have to continue to beat the Chiefs and you have to continue to beat the Chargers.
Plus, you don't have a team.
What did I say? Oakland again? Fuck. Sorry, Vegas.
Well, my problem with the Vegas thing is I'm a big believer in you have to mesh.
Okay.
The Oakland team, now the Vegas team, because I just did it too.
Yeah, he did it too. Bitch.
He does not fit the Raiders organization.
Okay.
He just doesn't.
He's more
it's
of a...
kind of like that like Pittsburgh. The Steelers play Steeler football.
I'm with you.
You have to be that.
Mm-hmm.
The Raiders play Raider foot.
Yeah, it's chaos.
Whether it's good or not,
it's chaos.
It is, and it's what they've been for 50 years.
Yeah.
And that Harbaugh doesn't fit that, and you're never... That's still a Davis up in the owner.
Yeah.
You're never gonna... That's who they are.
And I completely agree with you on that. Just the way I'm looking at it is what's the least amount of build-up he has to do.
Right.
It's probably one of those 2 teams, Minnesota or Vegas.
Minnesota's, I didn't even think about that. Probably a pretty good fit for him because
they run the ball.
Here's the thing that every organization, the mistake that they make, since they have, and I'm a huge Mike Zimmer fan. I love Mike Zimmer.
Mm-hmm.
He's defensive coach.
Yeah.
They just shit-canned him.
Uh-huh.
They're going to hire an offensive coach.
Yep.
Because that's what ownership does. I don't know why. How about you hire the best coach that fits your culture of who you are?
And I would love to see Flores in Minnesota.
Never going to happen.
And I get that. I'm going
to tell you what, because I've got some questions on him.
Okay.
He's probably, he shouldn't have been fired.
No.
But now as it's coming out of kind of the fights between him and Tua that are coming to the public.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to, he's going to get a job, but you're not going to get the high level job when that shit starts coming out. Now they'll get behind the scenes.
And that was my instant thought too. And actually my instant thought today was he's taking Houston's job.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
That's really what I'm thinking. He's taking Houston's job. If he would get Houston's job, I feel like Deshaun plays for Houston. My personal thought.
I don't know. Well, we'll find that out in February.
Yeah. I don't know, but that was my thought today. They fired him because of all of those rumors, I haven't heard any Scheffner stuff, whoever, of him having an interview set yet.
No, and he will.
He will.
Because Houston just fired today.
Yes.
He is a good coach. I mean, he won games.
Yeah.
Seems like his biggest fight was with the general manager and his quarterback.
Yeah.
Basically, he hated Tua.
Uh-huh.
And they sided with the general manager. That's why you get fired.
Yeah.
So he's at a point where he's not going to get a Minnesota job because Minnesota flip a switch. They didn't make the playoffs. They still beat the shit out of Green Bay that game.
Mm-hmm.
But he's getting a rebuild job.
Probably.
Which is probably Houston.
Uh-huh. And
because you're going to build with defense first.
Well, the problem with him, and that's one of the biggest things, he has never hired an offensive coordinator that was any good.
No.
Both of them have been fired within a year. So now that's probably your biggest question. That's probably why he's not getting an interview with Denver, because they've had the same fucking issues. They've hired defensive guys, the last two coaches, never worked on their offense. They never brought an offense with them. Now, I don't know who they're going to hire, but but they never brought an offensive plan with them. Like the guy that Fangio brought with him the very first time around was the quarterback's coach for the 49ers.
Yeah.
He never had any kind of it. I mean, you knew him, and you knew that Shanahan probably knows that offense, but it's not the same. And I hate that. And to go into another team, we'll talk about my team.
You want to give you the run? Because I've listed each coach that they should hire.
Go ahead. I want to hear it.
Chicago.
Okay.
They need to hire Eric Bieniemy.
Okay.
That's the best move for them.
Okay.
They're more apt, and I know I talk about this, you need to fit the organization and stuff, and they're a defensive-driven team.
Yeah.
You just drafted a quarterback. You need a guy that can that has, with Fields' skill set.
Yeah.
Bieniemy's been under a guy who is known for just being creative.
Uh-huh.
And you need, because you don't have a lot of talent around him, so you kind of need the creativity.
Okay.
Miami.
Okay.
Defensive guy just shit can. Got a young quarterback. This is going to be a great one because it's in the division.
Okay.
Brian Dable.
I like that one. I like him there. One, he had 2 at Alabama.
Yep.
2, it's about time he's had a head coaching job.
100%. Really wasn't even on the list last year for some reason.
And he's developed Josh Allen. He needs to be there with Tua. I like that. Actually, I don't mind either one of the twos that you've said.
Giants. It's not who they will hire, but I think it's just who they need.
Okay.
They need Jim Caldwell.
Okay, I'm with you.
We need a guy with experience to just
settle it down.
You had back-to-back winning years in Detroit.
Uh-huh.
We just need to calm this thing down.
Yeah.
And he's that guy.
No, he is, because he's the coach. Calmest guy probably ever.
He only got fired for his first job because Peyton Manning broke his neck.
Yep, pretty much.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
Jaguars, Peterson.
Okay.
Just go ahead and get that out of there. Let him, a younger coach.
Yep.
Won a Super Bowl. Been out a year. You're in a rebuild with a quarterback.
Yeah.
And he's a guy I think that you can just say, hey, man, you got to give him 3 to 5 years. You just have to with your organization.
Yep.
Denver. Nathaniel Hackett.
Okay. I want to hear your thought on that.
You know my thought on that.
Just go ahead.
1, he's good at his job.
Okay.
2, that's what Denver needs, because if the opportunity would come available, that's a place that would help.
I'll talk about that since it's my team.
Because normally, if it wasn't that situation, I would have almost had Hackett with the Vikings.
Okay. What you just said, if the opportunity comes available, that makes sense to me. I don't want him if there's absolutely no chance. I feel like that kind of, I'm not saying that's him. I hate when a coach gets brought in from something that they're used to and tries to take that and put it at a new team.
Right.
We don't have a fucking Aaron Rodgers. We don't have a Devontae Adams. The only thing that we have that mirrors the Packers is a running game.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that mirrors. So if there's a chance to get Rodgers, I don't mind that hire. I really don't.
I think what you're going to see is I like that hire for him because he's not going to. It's not his. That's not his offense. He's a West Coast guy,
and I get it,
and that works. The West Coast, when it's ran perfectly, when it's ran better, it's ran like it is in San.
Yes.
In Green Bay, they run it different because they have Aaron fucking Rodgers.
Exactly.
San Francisco runs it. It's a run game with a pass option, and that's what Denver. They have a run game.
Yes.
And you have some weapons. You can get a. I think he'll be okay with a middle. Like if he got cut and he brought Baker Mayfield into Denver, I'd be pretty excited for that because I think that would fit better.
I don't now, and I'll spin this to my narrative. If he would get hired in Denver, the only way I think he gets hired in Denver is the play caller. He's going to get play calling opportunity.
Yeah.
And I feel because I listened to the big interview with George Payton, what he said is all arrows are pointing at Dan Quinn. Now, Dan Quinn, the only time he had a bad offense was when Sarkisian was drinking. That's the only time he didn't have a top 10 offense. Okay, seriously.
I know, but
I mean, I know he had Kyle Shanahan with him with the Falcons, but
right.
That's it though. He seems like a likable guy. Denver is trying to sell fucking tickets. They had 14,000 no-shows against the Chiefs Saturday. Yeah, I think he's a guy who sparks that energy back up.
Here's my problem.
Okay.
Dan Quinn's defense sucks, and you have a good defense.
And I get that. I don't think the Dallas Cowboys defense sucks.
It does. It does.
I get it, but who is Hackett bringing with him? Because he doesn't. The Packers defense is worse than the Cowboys.
That's fine, but Dan Quinn's he's a defensive guy.
I get it.
You're playing in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
You still run that Legion of Boom shit, man. You don't have that.
No, I know, and I get that part, and I understand that. But he also he doesn't have the pieces that Denver has.
I understand.
In Dallas, doesn't have it. He has one dude in the secondary, and the guy has given up the most yards, but he has the most picks because people throw at him.
Yeah. But the proven thing is his defense doesn't work in the NFL anymore.
Okay.
And it hasn't since that one season.
Probably, yeah.
Because it just gets, if you don't, I mean, they borderline had 4 Hall of Famers back there. I mean,
I know.
You're running a cover 3 shell with, that's a whole thing. But, and I'm okay with, I'm not saying he shouldn't get a job. I just don't like him
I know that. But the person that I would want sorry, go ahead and finish your list. I interrupted.
No. We can keep going on Denver.
No, go ahead, finish your list.
I'll come back to it
because I'm going to go through my list.
I thought I was the only list maker.
No, I made a list.
Oh, I use pen and paper. You use technology.
Yeah, I did.
Because you're younger.
Yeah.
And I'm an old man. So where are we at here? Vikings. This is my out of left field one.
Mm-hmm.
Defense, obviously.
Yeah.
So they're going to go offense because that's just what we do.
Uh-huh.
Byron Leftwich is going to get his first job.
Okay. I don't hate it.
I don't hate it either. I don't love it.
No.
But I don't hate it.
No.
But it seems like, we had a defensive coach, so we better get an off. We got this young wide receivers. We got this little core here.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Yeah.
I could also see them going after Bieniemy pretty good.
Yes.
And then everybody keeps saying it, but I think Meatball Richie should stay with the Raiders.
Yeah. It's hard.
Who has been, the head coach gets fired and you take over a shitstorm.
Yeah, and you go to the playoffs.
Everybody forgets that your one receiver fucking killed somebody and hadn't been on the team. Yeah. Everybody just kind of doesn't talk about that anymore, do we? That you're down a first-round draft pick at receiver.
Mm-hmm.
I mean...
Yeah. The only question that I have with that, how much of it is him? That's the only question I have. Is it more of offense and defensive guys? Because you have Gus Bradley, who pretty good defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
I don't know the offensive coordinator guy's name. The offense is not very good. But is he the one who has sparked the... Obviously, he was the associate head coach for a reason. He was respected. I don't see him staying.
Well, probably not. I mean, people move all the time.
No, I know.
But, because that's going to go into of like, I know we're just going to pick all the games.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we can talk about this a little bit. Like, there's a better than average chance that they go in and beat the Bengals. Now, you get Siciliano Richie Italian, Basacci, goes in and wins on the road and on a short week in the playoffs.
It's hard. I mean, if he would win a playoff game, he's staying. I'll say that. I don't think I think he's gone unless they would win.
Because this game is, we've talked about it. Neither team has, like, because I think a lot of people forget is when the Raiders made the playoffs was the year that Derek Carr was pretty much the MVP and blew his knee out, and he's never played in a playoff game. Yeah. Well, neither is Cincinnati. They played national championships, not the same thing. Yeah. So that's why I say, plus, hey, prove it. Yeah. You haven't won one.
No, I'm with you.
So that's kind of where I sit with the Raiders. And then I don't really have anybody for them because I think they should give that guy a shot.
Okay. I don't disagree with you. I think he deserves a shot. I just don't think they will give it to him. Yeah. That's my thing.
They don't like pasta. I get it.
I 100% agree with you that a lot of teams flip.
I don't know why.
I don't know why
hire
either.
The best guy that meshes up with the guy that meshes with what you're trying to do.
I have in Jacksonville, not the same guy you have in Jacksonville, even though I think you make a good point. I have Bill O'Brien going to Jacksonville, and I have John Dorsey going as the GM. Now, John Dorsey is a person who says, you're not in charge of anything. I'm in charge of everything. Yeah. I think Bill O'Brien could do something with Trevor Lawrence. And I think John Dorsey has enough. The Browns had their best 3 drafts ever when he was their GM. Ever. Yeah. That's where I'm going with mine. I think Bill O'Brien, say what you want about the guy. Like I said earlier, I think he knows how to call plays for NFL talent. Yeah. I don't think he's good in college. I don't think he was good at Penn State. That's why he left Penn State. I think he would do well there when he's not in charge of personnel. Yeah. He took a shitty Texans team. Now, I know they had Deshaun Watson. Built him up to that giant contract he got and took him to the playoffs and won the division like every year he was there. Yeah. That's where my head was at.
I give Bill O'Brien a little bit of a break as more came out from the Houston side of it of like, hey, he was kind of in a shit show of like a lot of people got fired, and I think he just kind of assumed these roles of, well, somebody's got to do it. I mean, yeah. I'm not against it. I think what I like about that is I'm not a Bill O'Brien guy. But he's, I'm not. But he's won in the league.
Yeah, I am very, very adamant that I am not a Bill O'Brien guy.
Yeah. So I think we're both on the same side of, hey, there's 2 coaches that have won the league, and they're not splash hires. Nope. You're not winning headlines with these hires.
Bill O'Brien's getting another job in the NFL. Yeah. He just is. Yeah. He's not going back to Alabama. Yeah.
And you're hiring a guy with either one of those, Peterson or O'Brien, that were both fired out of situations that really wasn't their fault. Like Peterson wins a Super Bowl, and then that front office turned into a shit show, and then they started wanting to coach the team.
Yes, exactly.
Of like,
yeah, that doesn't work like that.
No.
We had the exact same one for Miami. Yeah, I think Brian Daboll gets the job. One, he's got the connection with Tua. And he needs it. He's one who needs the job. I think he would do well there.
And it's always interesting as shit when you hire somebody from the division.
Yep, exactly.
Like, remember, when the Jets kept hiring Patriots coordinators.
Exactly. Yep. My Minnesota one is Doug Peterson. I have him going to Minnesota. I'm with you. I don't think they go defense again. I think Doug Peterson got a lot of things to work with there offensively. Oh, yeah. A lot of things to work with. He also is one who comes from Andy Reid. Yep. With creativity. You have enough talent on that receiving corps to show some creativity stuff. You don't just line up. Justin Jefferson just lines up on the outside and still gets the yards he gets. Right. Now you move him around a little bit with a run game. He never had a run game in Philly. He had spurts. Right. But you give him a run game, now you got something to work with. And I think he knows enough people in the NFL where he can get somebody to come in and call a defense for him.
Yeah.
That's
I don't put the staff thing.
Yeah,
I don't put a lot into it because there's a shit ton of well-respected guys that are always looking for you're gonna find a coordinator.
Oh, for sure.
I mean,
yeah. I think the Giants. Go with Leslie Frazier. I think the Bills lose both coordinators. I think he's one of the guys who he's already had head coaching experience.
Yep.
He coached the Vikings for a little bit. He is not a guy who gets overly upset. He's a very calm and cool guy. They have decent pieces together. The only thing that I would question is, what's your plan with the offense?
Yeah.
That would be my only question with him, because that was the biggest problem when he was in Minnesota. Their offense was terrible. And they had Adrian Peterson.
Well, and they get a little... When you hire for what they do, I mean, it's more of... Because you can get a head coach that just gets locked in on one side. Like, you got to be a head coach, not a... That's why I've always been against play callers. Of, hey, if you're the head coach and the defensive play caller, you're kind of locked into the defense. That's why your offense kind of sucks a little bit, because you're supposed to be coaching the coaches.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not coaching players, you're coaching coaches.
Yeah.
But I think, and we're both on that same thing of, like him or a called, like, hey, you need somebody to... that's been here before, and like with your side of it, even if he gets locked in, hey, if they're going to have a lockdown defense, it's something.
Yep.
It's something.
Yep. Chicago, I have... What you say about Bieniemy makes a ton of sense to me.
Yeah.
Kind of something different.
Yeah.
I have Caldwell going there.
Totally fine with that, too.
I think he can take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. We're calm. We're cool. I think he would be really, really good in Chicago. Vegas.
I think on the I like the creativity of Bieniemy. I love that. I think with you on the Caldwell side of it, you'll see of the, hey, we have this superstar in the making. Yeah, we don't know what he's going to be yet, but you got him murdered. Yeah, so maybe we let's address this first.
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you there.
Because you're gonna have to get a new receiver because you can't franchise him again.
Nope.
Because I think it goes to $25 million. Can't do that.
No. Vegas, that's where I have... I originally had Flores going to Vegas.
Yeah.
Until the Texans brought out... Now, when the Texans guy got fired, I instantly put him there. It just
makes sense.
It makes sense to me for him to go there, and I don't know why, but it does. With Patriots ties, with this, with that,
and
I think it makes sense.
The reason... Yes. They keep saying that Watson wanted to go there because of him.
Yeah.
Or it could just be the fact it was Miami.
Yes, that could have been it too.
But you got to assume Texans are thinking, well, hey.
Yep.
Now, you hire him thinking maybe you can keep Deshaun because, I mean, that court case is in February.
Yep.
So we're going to know a lot. I mean, you got to make that hire before then, but you're assuming if he's going to be
for sure
exonerated, you're going to want to try to keep him.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I think for sure 100% Flores is going to Houston. Yeah, that's my call. Vegas, that's I kind of go back and forth with it, kind of like you. I think I 100% think that he should get the job. I think he should get the job. I think he should have a chance with it. He's done fine with it so far.
And it's not like everybody, I think, don't give him a chance because he's not a name, but he is in the NFL. Yep. I mean, he has been an NFL coach for 35 years.
Exactly.
So it's not like he's, some up and coming, like this guy doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
100% does. And I'm in that hardball school of he's been a fucking special teams coach for that long. And when done, now I know it didn't work in New York.
Yeah.
But when done the right way, again, the special teams coach outside of the head coach is the only one. He's the only coach on the staff that addresses the full team. The head coach and the special teams coach is the only ones that do it.
Yeah.
And there's something to that. I mean.
There is. So I think my Vegas one, and I honestly don't know who they're going after, because you don't hear anything from them.
They could be splashy too.
Yes, they could. I mean, they could.
Because he likes shiny things.
Yeah.
Fresh haircuts.
Yeah. They could want somebody cool.
Yeah.
To sell tickets. If in my head, if you're getting a splashy hire and you want to get people excited about the organization, I think that's the Dan Quinn hire. Because he's going to get your players fired up. The defense, they're mostly young. I mean, they're a very young team. They don't have a whole lot of old guys on the team. He's a very fiery guy. He's a very likable guy. You already have a quarterback.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about. I think that's probably where he could go and have some success.
And I think a lot of it is too, because I don't know why. Like, people shit all over Carr, and he's a good quarterback.
Yeah.
And I think when they hire, like, it's that's why I like Richie keeping the job, just because what they're doing right now.
Yeah.
And you're going to add some pieces. But whoever they're hiring has got to be okay with this quarterback.
Yeah.
Because he's about to get another contract. And he's a guy that wins games in the NFL. He's very good.
Yeah.
He's not Aaron Rodgers. He's not.
No.
There's only so many of those people. He's a top 10 quarterback in the league, that's for sure.
Yep.
And do you let guys like that walk out your door? Because it seemed like that's where it was going with Gruden.
Yep.
That he was going to get
gone.
cut. He didn't want him, but that's what Gruden did. He fires quarterbacks. That's what he does.
Yep.
Terrible coach.
Yes, he is. 100% terrible coach.
He got lucky and took somebody else's team and won a Super Bowl.
100%.
And then train wrecked it.
Yep. So for my team, this is a personal hire for me that I like. They're not going to do it. But I think if you want to keep the narrative of what you have and somebody who's done it for a long time with success, the only issue is coming from the offensive end. I think Mike Zimmer keeps to be a head coach. That's what, as a fan, and I've said it before, Denver has a they were a top 7 defense and a losing record.
Yeah.
They are number 2 in like majority of the stats besides points.
Yeah.
And I think he can do something with that. His only question would be, what is his plan for offense?
Right.
And I think that's been his question in Minnesota the last 3 years, because they had Kubiak, then they had Kubiak's son, and it's like, well, they haven't gotten any better. So what's your plan here? But that's a fan hire for me.
Yeah. Man, I'll tell you what. And I like your thought, but because a lot of times when a coach gets fired, they usually coordinate for a year and then
I think he has
kind of stay out of the.
I think he did it for long enough, and he has a lot of respect around the league that he could be one of the ones to jump right back into a head coaching cycle.
Now, a lot of it depends on how their contracts are.
I think
because a lot of times when I think a lot of people don't know that if a coach gets fired, if he takes another head coaching job, there's usually something into that where he only gets half the money that he's owed.
Yes, yeah.
That's why you see a lot of them go down and be a consultant down in college, so they get the full.
And one of the things that I absolutely think could definitely happen is Dan Quinn gets a head coaching job, and Zimmer goes and calls the Cowboys defense, because that's what Jerry Jones wanted originally.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of what I was thinking with the Zimmer thing of which one of these guys. Now it'd be funny if you take Bieniemy to Chicago and he just hires Zimmer as their defense coordinator.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you already know what you got to do. Of all the defenses that get carved up, that Vikings defense is the one that tends to give Aaron Rodgers the problems.
Yeah, it does.
Because it gives everybody, because that's what he does. A Mike Zimmer defense is.
And I honestly, I had this thought, one from the talks earlier in the season. Now, they had some players hurt. I don't think Steve Spagnuolo is coming back to the Chiefs, and I think Reed would hire Zimmer.
That would be
in a heartbeat.
Something.
Mm-hmm. I really do. Yeah.
And I was taking a look, too, because we need to get into the last weekend's games, and then we'll talk playoff-wise. And I was looking at that because, the playoffs were set.
Mm-hmm.
At next year's salary cap, think about this. Obviously, just because I'm a Cincinnati guy.
Mm-hmm.
Bengals have a very explosive team.
Yes.
Guess who also has the most salary cap space heading into next season?
The Bengals do.
At $48 million.
Yep.
And they were very good.
Yeah, they were.
They were very good in the offseason last year.
Yes, they were.
You pick up a couple offensive line pieces, and you're starting to cook there a little bit. A couple more defensive guys, sprinkle in some linemen.
Yeah.
And you got something. Now there's some teams. Well, that was the other thing with the Giants.
Yeah.
They couldn't fill the 53-man roster the last game of the season because they couldn't afford to pay. They had to go in one man short because they've mishandled their business, so they couldn't afford to pay a guy.
Yeah.
They didn't have enough salary cap space to field a full roster in the last week of the season.
That is absolutely wild.
That is embarrassing.
Oh, 100% embarrassing.
I mean, you're not even are you a real franchise?
Yeah. The Giants have slowly became equal to the Jets.
They are below the Jets.
Okay. I'm with you on that.
Just because of what's going on here of like.
Yeah.
I mean, the Jets are garbage, but they also beat the Bengals, and they beat what have the Giants done?
Oh, nothing. Nothing.
And of like.
The fact that it took till yesterday for Joe Judge to be fired was incredible to me.
I think what happened there is when they started lining up GM jobs.
Yeah.
I think a lot of GMs said,
no.
Hey, if he's your coach, I'm not
coming. No, it makes total sense.
Because I'm not taking over and being responsible for this fucking clown.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
yeah.
And if we could just stop with the Bill Belichick coaching tree.
Yes, it's bad.
It is not.
It is horrible. The only one who has success is Flores, and it is questioned success.
Yeah. Well, in the 7 games in a row that they won, they didn't beat anybody.
No, they didn't beat us all.
They beat the Jets twice.
You beat the Patriots once in the last game of the season when it meant nothing.
Yeah.
They were already in.
Now, granted on him, he's 4-2 against the Patriots. That's something.
Yeah.
But it's one of those weird things, too, of like, they fly around, they make some plays, and it seems like they love him, but maybe it's coming out that they don't.
Yeah, exactly.
But that whole thing, because now you're seeing guys come back up for it. And I heard, I think there's one guy talking about it, of playing for Bill Belichick. It's hard. He's very disciplined.
Yep.
And I think, was it Man in the Arena, Tom Brady talking about that.
Yeah.
But you're in a tunnel, and it's all this hard work, but you can always see the light at the end of the tunnel, and that light is a fucking Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly.
Of you come out into this, it was all worth it. And you're getting all these guys, now we're doing Oklahoma drills at 6 a.m., full pads, all this, we're hitting on a but then
there's no
then
light.
They get 4 wins.
Yeah, there's no light.
Well, hey, man.
And I think
you're not Bill Belichick.
The problem with that is these guys are adults and they're paid to play. They're going to smell bullshit from a mile away. And that's why Joe Judge on those last 2 games interviews was throwing out bullshit. His players had to have sat back and watched those interviews and just fucking laughed. Because they're like, this guy's a fucking moron. What is he saying? He's literally telling anybody motivational things that mean nothing.
Well, and that thing too of like when you talk about that bullshit rant that he went on.
Yeah.
Hey, I got players calling saying they want to come back to the Giants. Of like,
can't afford
them. One, that better be bullshit, because I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to fucking talk to other guys on other teams about that during the season.
Exactly.
So,
and who's calling?
Yeah, and who's calling?
Somebody who needs a job, Golden Tate ran out of money? I mean, he wants to come back?
Some guy that's number 48 on a roster?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
That guy's a moron. He'll go back to coaching special teams for the Patriots.
Yeah, the
one person that's getting interviews, Gerard Mayo, is very interesting to me.
It's a very weird thing. Like, he's not a coach.
No, he coaches. His title is inside linebackers coach.
Yeah. And as we're talking about this, out of the Bill Belichick school, difference, he played at a high level.
High level. And I get that. And I know that Denver set up an interview with him more for, I think they're looking for.
They got to meet that quota, too.
They do. And a lot of the leadership talk that Peyton had said, they said that this guy's a really good, I mean, he was a team captain his second year and then all throughout his career. I get that part. And I know you got to meet your quota. But I feel like there's so many other good, like, you didn't give the enemy a shot. Now, I know they did finally, but it was like, if that'd been the guy. No, I don't think he fits in Denver.
No.
We don't have enough guys to be creative.
No. We don't have a quarterback.
Yes. And I think
you can't be creative without a quarterback.
No, exactly.
You can, but he's he's not out of the San Francisco pipeline where they're creative with the run game.
Yeah.
You know, he's more of the pass game, even though he was a running back.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, but who knows? I mean, it'll be fun to see where everybody goes and just the stupid fucking hires that teams make.
Because it's coming.
It's coming. I mean, it is coming.
And it's going to, we listed off so many great hires.
And half of those guys won't get a job.
Nope. And you're going to get guys like somebody from college getting hired.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody's coming out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm. Like, what the fuck?
It's like, well, who are the Jaguars going to hire? One of these guys? Nope. No, they went and got Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll be something like that's going to happen.
Yep.
And not that I think Lane could be very successful in the NFL. He's been there before, and that was with the Raiders when one, he's 32 years old.
And two,
it was like Al Davis was like, what are they? Hey, this guy's a really good player. Does he run a 4.2?
Yeah.
No. Well, we can't draft him then.
And and his dad was the defensive coordinator there for 15 years.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, my son's available.
Yeah, his dad invented a defense.
Yeah,
the Tampa 2 was invented by his father.
Yeah.
So.
Monty Kiffin invented that. Yeah.
But this last weekend, though, well, this will shock you, too.
Mm-hmm.
Because everything that happened Sunday.
Yeah.
So, obviously, I told you about the national championship game. Watched the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Also watched all of Sunday Night Football conclusion.
Wow.
So 2 days in a row.
You were staying up late.
Oh, boy.
Were you tired?
Oh, boy.
I bet Tuesday was rough.
Pretty rough.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is on Sunday, going in of like, there's nothing to watch.
Yeah.
Because it's a shit show.
Yeah.
And then it starts.
It starts, and it's a shit show.
There was only... Everything that had to happen for Sunday to be exciting happened.
Mm-hmm.
Because if the Colts just beat the Jaguars,
we don't have.
We're not talking about anything.
Nope, not at all. Yep.
And
the Jaguars beat the Colts.
Dog walked. It wasn't even a game.
Wasn't close. And then Pittsburgh wins in overtime.
Yeah,
which was great.
Yeah,
I'm not a Steelers fan, but god damn it, is Mike Tomlin one of the greatest ever?
And people shit on him because he hadn't won enough Super Bowls.
I know.
It's like, hey, I think you get a little like rose-colored glasses just because Belichick's won a lot of them, but that doesn't happen. Nobody wins Super Bowls.
And you had to go through that guy.
Yeah.
And you had to go through an era of Peyton Manning, too.
Yeah. His whole career has been Tom Brady and Peyton Manning.
Yes, exactly.
And he's got to win.
Yeah, he's got to win.
And he's got a loss. He's been to 2.
Yep.
And the one you lost was Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, against one of the greatest statistics offenses ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. With Greg Jennings, Donald Driver, Jordy Nelson.
Yeah.
You're going to stop that?
Yeah.
Jermichael Finley?
Yeah.
Nope, you're not stopping that.
But with the Indianapolis get beat, and that's where I was going with it, so I wrote down the Carson Wentz and the GM and the coach. I mean, do you not realize that you have Jonathan Taylor? And I get so sick and tired of hearing, well, they ran the ball 8 times in the first quarter and he only had 12 yards. I don't care. I don't care. That's not what the run game is.
That's not when that guy's good. That guy has the Derrick Henry effect.
Yeah.
Where nobody wants to tackle the fucker in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Second half, they're tired of hitting him.
And it's like, well, he only had 10 rushes and then he's averaging 2.2. Well, then on the 11th rush, he went for 76 yards and a touchdown.
Yep.
And now it's a little different, isn't it? But he is... Frank Reich came out and said the same, because Carson Wentz is bad at football.
Yes, he is.
And we are at this point, and they keep talking about, and Frank Reich said it, of like, Carson, you got to get Carson into his groove of like, yeah, but you have Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
So you don't have time to play with Carson Wentz to get him in a groove when you got
him,
the second best running back in the NFL. I mean, I think we're all still in agreement that Derrick Henry is up there. But Jonathan Taylor's right there.
Yeah.
Of he's got to get the ball, and if you can't get yourself in a groove on the 20, you're going to throw 20, 25 passes. I don't need you throwing 3 in a row.
No.
Frank, he is too close to Carson Wentz.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Carson Wentz is a backup quarterback.
Yeah.
And the reason I know that is because Carson Wentz constantly does backup quarterback shit.
100%.
Backup quarterbacks, Fitzmagic.
Yep.
I love Fitzmagic.
Yeah.
He's a backup quarterback. He'll win games. He's flashy.
Yep.
But when it's pressure time, they do backup quarterback shit, which is miss guys by 15 yards and throw interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
Carson Wentz has hit more defenders in the chest than his own players this year.
Yeah. I think you're right. He's got the mom and dad eyes on Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
And I know he was in Philly when they drafted him, and I get that, but you got to be a little bit objective.
He's bad.
He's bad. And you could have said, well,
as a starting quarterback. He's an NFL quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
You're the Indianapolis Colts with a good defense, an amazing offensive line, and the second best running back in the league.
Yeah.
Hey, I think we got other things than to try to reclaim this guy's career.
In a bad fucking division.
Yeah.
Bad fucking division.
Outside of the Tennessee.
But that's 2 losses.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't beat the Jags once.
Yeah. The most important game of your season.
You didn't beat them. I'm pretty sure they lost to the Texans one game, too.
Did they?
I think that was one of the Texans' wins. Yeah, it was in that stretch where they didn't hand Jonathan Taylor the ball.
Yeah.
I think it was like a field goal or something, or I don't know. It was one of the games where the Texans just went off.
Well, then you start thinking about the last 6 games. You don't give Jonathan Taylor the ball, and the Jaguars beat the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz, whatever their QBRs or whatever, there's one that goes like 156. I don't understand that thing. It doesn't make any sense. Looking at the one that just goes to 100, as 100 being perfect, which that's what it should be.
Yeah.
50 is average in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Carson Wentz on Sunday was 4.4.
4% QBR.
And you were slinging the ball everywhere and not handing the ball off.
Yeah.
Against the Jaguars because their defense is staunch.
Stellar defense.
Oh, but then you look back you gave it up and lost at the end of the Raiders when you should have done that.
Mm-hmm.
You had a 12-point or 14-point, whatever it was, when they were beating Tampa. And then they started slinging the ball all over the field in the fourth quarter against Tampa when you had them down 2 scores and you never handed the ball off to Jonathan Taylor.
Yep.
You win any of those games and you're in.
Yep. It's wild.
But by that loss, then you get that overtime Pittsburgh win, and then I watched, the Raiders-Chargers game.
Yeah.
Did you watch the whole thing?
No, I did not.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I planned on going to bed.
Yeah.
When it got to 15.
Uh-huh.
Of no way.
Yeah.
All right, well, then the Chargers score of they got to go for 2.
Yep.
Then they go for 2 and get it. It's like, well, fuck, now I got to stay up.
Yeah.
Then they score again.
Yeah.
Then it goes into overtime.
Mm-hmm.
Then the Raiders kick a field goal. Then the Chargers kick a field goal.
Yeah.
Then the Raiders get the ball back and are pretty okay running out the clock. Just watching that game.
Yeah. The videos afterwards are what crack me up.
Here's my problem with the whole thing. And I'm all for, if you're on the Raiders side of people saying they shouldn't have ran out the clock or whatever, I'm okay with that because it's kind of a golf thing too. Yeah, like when in the PGA Tour, there's saying of you got to protect the field. Like you can't do things to help a guy because you got to protect the field.
100%. Yeah.
If you're Oakland, you're playing to win because you got to protect the NFL.
Yep.
This isn't, but for them, the best thing to do was run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
If it runs out, we're in either way.
Yep.
Because, if you kick a field goal, gets blocked or whatever, the chances of them running, come on.
Very astronomical.
The timeout, I have a problem with the timeout because he said he wanted to get his run stopper in there.
Uh-huh.
Well, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But they were snapping the ball on each of the plays under 5 seconds. You didn't have any time to get the guy in there?
Yeah.
And I did hear Rodgers saying he made a good point where people are looking at it. He goes, the Raiders were lining up when they called that timeout.
Yeah.
And they were in the gun.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't under center.
Yeah.
So it was going to be an RPO.
Yeah.
But they're probably going to run it. And they did run it.
Uh-huh.
And all you had to, if you didn't let them gain 10 yards.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they weren't going to kick a 59-yard field goal.
Nope.
Because now you got to, they send a guy back to catch that thing and maybe return it. You're not doing that.
Yeah.
But come on, man.
Yeah.
And then, in the third quarter, you went for it on 4th down on your own 18.
I know, that was weird.
Of what are we doing?
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. I know that he's been been aggressive all year, and he's come out and said it, but that's just stupidity.
Well, he only goes by analytics. Of like, hey, you got to have a feel for the game. You're only down 3, and it's a third fucking quarter.
Like 2 minutes into the third quarter.
And your defense has to hate you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because you only gave up 3 points, but you gifted them 3 points.
But you rarely see the defensive guy doing that. You rarely do, though.
No. Because they're thinking about...
Yes. And I get, yeah.
Hey, you know.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm not going to pin myself on the 18.
They're in scoring position. This is the NFL. Mm-hmm. They're kicking a field goal.
Either way.
It's
3 points.
We're giving 3 points if we don't get this.
Yeah. Or you could punt it away and actually make them earn it.
And they might not score at all. Because you're on the 18 and it's the NFL. They're getting the ball on the 30.
Yeah, exactly.
They got to get 40 yards to get a field goal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean...
Yeah. Crazy.
Terrible.
Crazy.
Well, we want to Super Wildcard Weekend.
Yeah.
Do some picks.
Yeah.
I think we'll just pick all of them instead of giving each other the games.
Yeah.
Get the old FanDuel odds up here.
Yes, sir.
It'd have been nice if Ohio would have set that and got their ass moving for the playoffs.
Yeah, no shit. That was never going to happen.
Or minimum of like, hey, if we're going to do it this year, we might as well be able to get this thing launched before the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It
doesn't sound like that's not happening either.
Trying to get this to load up so I can see the spreads because I think I am not okay with the Monday night game.
No, it's stupid.
Because you're screwing that team over.
Yeah. You went 3-2 and I went 4-1 last week, by the way.
You are on a roll,
I am.
buddy.
I am on a roll. Call me butter.
But, that's that Monday night of, hey, you could have 3 games on Saturday. That's how it was last year.
It was so awesome.
Oh, you tell me I get 1, 5, and 8:30?
On a Saturday?
I'm good.
Perfect.
All right, so the first game is the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Cincinnati Bengals. It's down now. Down to -4.5. It started at 6.
I'm taking the Bengals.
I am too. As much as I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't like to bet on my own team.
Mm-hmm.
They should win this game. But I'll tell you what, the Raiders just pull out a lot of they got 9 wins?
Yeah.
6 of them are on last-second field goals, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it's if you let them hang around, plus it's the football narrative.
It's hard to beat a team twice.
Yep. And they dog-walked them the first time.
Yes, they did. I mean, I think Derek Carr might have had one of his worst games ever during that game. Patriots at the Bills. The Patriots are +4.
I think the Buffalo Bills are going to beat the shit out of the Patriots.
I would 100% agree with you. The Patriots are on a downward spiral that I don't think that they can save themselves from.
Yeah, and I think they got... I like Mac Jones. I don't think he's at that spot yet where he can just put a team on his... Especially that team. They don't have a lot of weapons. And if there's going to be a blowout in these games, I think it's that one.
Mm-hmm. All righty.
All right, next we got the Philadelphia Eagles are getting 8.5 at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I'm taking Philly. Actually, I'm taking Philly, and I think that Philly upsets the Buccaneers.
Really?
I do. I don't know why. I have a feeling.
Kind of the shit show that Tampa's been in.
Yeah, and I know they beat the Panthers by a ton, but the Panthers are so fucking bad.
Yeah.
It's...
Philly runs the goddamn ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're going to test that defensive line.
They are. Now, I know the Buccaneers got a lot of their guys back, which helps, but...
Yeah. I'm gonna take the Bucs minus the 8.5 just so we don't end up picking the same goddamn teams on everything, because I think we're all kind of thinking the same way.
Yeah, maybe.
And there is a chance of some weather. I've heard.
Yep.
Like some rain, and you got a running team.
All righty.
So now we're at the 49ers are +3 at the Dallas Cowboys.
I'm going 49ers.
100%. I don't know what the Dallas Cowboys are.
No. And I know that the 49ers are a hard-nosed fucking team. And I think that they're going to... Is it 3.5 or 3?
I've got... on mine, I've got 3.
Okay. Making sure.
And I think the 49ers beat them by 2 scores.
I would agree. I don't... Yeah. I'm with you. Oh, man.
So then we got the Steelers at Kansas City. The Steelers are getting 12.5. Did you hear Ben Roethlisberger today?
Yeah, I did.
I love when guys do that.
Uh-huh.
When it's that backhanded, well, they're the best team in the league.
Yep.
I mean, we got no chance. We shouldn't even be here. We got no chance to win this game.
Great.
I love when they do that.
I know, it's great. You want to go ahead and pick first?
I'm going to take the Kansas City Chiefs minus the 12.5. The Steelers, I don't know.
I'm taking the Steelers.
Juju might be back. Maybe. Yeah. I think he was at practice today.
I'm going to take the Steelers with the plus the 12.5.
I would love if the Steelers would knock them off.
Ben Fever, his last run. They could make a run at it. Who knows?
They can't, but it'd be awesome if they did.
Who knows?
But I loved everything about that statement of him. I mean, it just it just kept building on itself. Well, they're the greatest ever.
The greatest team, and we don't have a chance in hell. All right.
And the Monday night game, the Arizona Cardinals plus 3.5 at LA.
This one's a toss-up because I don't know what the Cardinals are, and I'm not sure what the Rams are either. They've both lost some games that are very odd, but I'm going to go with the home team, and I'm going to take the Rams with the minus 3.5.
Good, because I am going to take the Cardinals plus 3.5 because they only win games on the road.
Okay.
I think they only won 3 home games this year.
Yeah.
All the rest of their wins are, and everybody says, well, McVay owns, Kingsbury of he already beat them in LA, and they beat the shit out of them in LA. But, they're down some weapons and all that good stuff. But I'm going to, that's my flyer.
No, I'm with you.
On that.
I'm with you. It'll be a fun weekend.
Can't wait for it.
I'm excited.
I mean, for what last weekend is supposed to be shitty, and it was awesome.
This weekend's got to be better.
And I did see this. I think, I can't remember who put it out there on the tweet. It's one of those SPO track or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Did you see the one about the top 100 rated shows this last year?
Yes.
91 of them were NFL games.
Mm-hmm. 370 billion minutes.
Minutes consumed.
It's consumed. Yeah.
Of average. Now, granted, they're throwing the Super Bowl in there to average out.
Yeah.
Average 17 million viewers per game.
It's crazy.
That's
unheard of.
So I have a feeling the $110 billion media rights is getting redone.
Oh, yeah.
Rather quickly.
Probably.
Hey, we're 1 year into this. We're going to end up adding another game within 5 years.
Oh, for sure.
One game, what it caused for this season, it tightened everything up for some reason.
It was fantastic, and it just made it better.
They're going to add another.
For sure.
And then I think DirecTV is coming up, so you're going to start seeing some plays from Amazon and stuff. Yeah. And
Amazon already has the Thursday night games for next year.
Yeah,
I think they have all of them.
I think you're going to see them put a play in for the Sunday ticket package.
They should.
Because DirecTV's just going to be dead of get out of here. So that, I think in their TV rights deal, the NFL wrote that in, that every time you want to do something digital, we just tear up the contract, do a new one. Mm-hmm. I think that's kind of how it is.
Okay.
And so that's why on ESPN, you don't see Monday Night Football on ESPN Plus, because if they do that, they got to tear the contract up and redo it.
Yeah.
So,
all right,
be an interesting thing.
Yes, it will.
I love football.
Yes,
we're running out of it, so enjoy it for the next month and a half. Because then we're going to start talking about some bad job. I don't know. I don't remember how we made it. We started this damn thing.
Yeah, not
in the pandemic.
Yeah,
with no sports in the summertime, and we somehow got through to make it to 100 and
some episodes.
18, I think this is.
That's awesome.
Not to mention the Wideside cinema. But hey, maybe movies will be back when we start talking about that shit.
No shit.
So the new TV or the John Cena thing looks fun. He was funny in the movie.
Yeah.
As Peacemaker.
Peacemaker. Yeah.
So I'm going to assume the TV show's funny.
It's probably funny.
I think it came out today.
Yeah,
so
it did. It did.
I haven't watched it, but maybe. That's all I got for you. What do you got? Anything?
Nope.
All done?
Yep.
Call it.
Wideside.